Hello, this video is in response to a question we received on our site. So, is having two columns possible in action form? And the answer is no, not out of the box right now. But what you can do, you can always, just from the configuration, create new layouts and new controls. This question in particular deals with having a quantity drop-down box followed by a text field. So I will use this opportunity to create a tutorial for creating new controls. So I will create this control now in this video, and I will publish it with a new build. Starting with action form 2.0, now the template is based on XSL. So if you go into desktop modules, avatars of the action form, there is a templates folder and form folder, and here is the default template, that is the old template that it's obsolete now, and the new Bootstrap template that is based on XSL. So we're actually going to create a new control here. You will see the entry point in a template is main.xsl. So if we open this, we will see that for each form field, it calls the render template. This is a different file that is located in controls/main.xsl. So we go to controls main.xsl, and you will see here that there's a big switch case, and for each control type it will call a different render template. So we will start by creating the control in the configuration file, and then map it to a template. So we do that by going to the desktop module, AvatarSoft, action form config, and here there's an input types folder. In the input types folder, there's a default XML, and here you can create many XML files, one for each control or set of controls. Default.xml contains all these controls that we give built-in. So I will create a new control called item with quantity, and I will put this, maybe I will put it after number. Let's put it here. So I just copied, pasted a node. I will give it a title, item with quantity. I will give it an ID, quantity, and I will leave it of type text. Okay, so now I have a new control. If I go on a test site, this I created myself a test site, I will go into manage form screen, and now there should be a new item with quantity field. So I will select this field. I will just remove the rest to make it simple. Okay. I will save this. So now you'll see an error. We don't have this field yet in the template. The template doesn't know how to render this field. So this is the idea I gave to the control here. So I have a name which is its unique ID. So I will go back into controls main.xsl, and I will add a new case, and I will say, let's put it here, for example. And I will say when the input type is of type open text item with quantity, and I will just delete the rest, then I will call a different template. I will call it the same way, and I don't need this. Okay, so I call the new template, and I'll have to create this template in a separate file. So I'll import it maybe here, and I will call it item with quantity.xsl. So what I will do, I will clone the text box, and I will call it like this. Okay, I'll open it, and I'll modify this template. You have to know a little XSL to go into this deep. So I'm going to modify the template a little. So the template now is called item with quantity. This type will be of type text. Okay. So what we have now, what I have done so far, if I refresh the page here, I have one variable I deleted, and I have to get it out here too. Okay, and type 2. Okay, so what I've done so far, I've cloned the text field. So for the new control I created in the defaults.xml input type, so I created a new input types. I created a field of this type, I put it on the form, and in the template I made a case for this control to call this template. And now I'm in this template, and here I can simply add a select. And I'll put some options here. So I've created up to 10 items, and now I'll refresh the page here, and you will see the drop down. I'm gonna make this also smaller. Okay. Now I have this drop down, but I have when I send this data to the server, I have to combine everything in one value. So I will do this from JavaScript. I will also give this a name. Or better yet, I'll give it an ID, and I can find, you see the ID is built in this template, attribute common, that I can find here, attribute common. And you see the ID node is computed here. So I will just take it from here, the attribute, and I will put it here. And I will say that the ID is base ID, the form name, and a new part, let's say quantity. So now I have the text box, and I have the select that has the ID plus something. Now I will go into the template main JavaScript file. This script.jc is loaded automatically by action form for the template. I'm opening this, and I will treat separately this case when an item with quantity is submitted. To achieve this easily, I will make a class for this. And here I will handle on submit. Here on submit, I will build a single value for both controls. So I'm finding all the text boxes, and then for each I will set the data. I will get the quantity field, and then I will append this value. So if I submit 3 something, it will say 3 something. Okay, let's test this. So I'll refresh the page here. I will check if I have any errors. I'm okay. And now I will submit 5 action forms. Okay, I submitted this. And now I will check the reports to see if the data submitted is good. No, so I have an undefined here. The quantity field is undefined, and this was fine. I'll have to check. I'm looking and I'm seeing some extra spaces here around the ID. So I will just go back to the item with quantity and remove all the spaces. And I will test it again. So now I see it's good. Let's see. Okay, so now we have 7 action forms. Now the other part of this story is to get values to populate in. So now what I want to do is go into manage form, and I'm going to put a value here. I will say the default value is 7 search controls. So now what I want is the drop-down field to have this value and the text box field to have this value. So there are 2 ways to do this. One is from XSL and the other is from JavaScript. Right now, if I save this, I will get the value in the text box, 7 search controls. This happens because of this attribute, value for the input type equal text. So now what I want to do, I will put the value in this input small, but only until the first space. So I put the value attribute and I select substring before space. So this will give me 7. And here I will do the same thing, but use the string after the space. Substring after. So now, if I refresh, I should get so this doesn't work. I suspect. Oh, the value is good. Okay, so I suspect. This is not the correct way to set the value. Actually, I should be setting an attribute like selected equal selected if this value equal the value in the node. So I will just make a for all this. Okay, so what I did here in the select, I've created a new template called option, and here I'm passing the parameter count, how many items to generate. So here I could put anything. From where to start, so I'll start from one quantity, and the value. And then this template is just below here, and I will write an option node, and I will test if the value is equals current item. I will also write the attribute selected equals selected, and then I will write the value, and then if the current index is still less than count, I will call the template again with the next with +1, so it will be 1, then it will be 2, 3, and so on until I reach the count. So I'll save this template, I'll refresh this page. So now you see the value is here and I have 20 items. So you can see how I created all this template just from a notepad. So everything is done from configuration. Thank you for your time.